Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. No, it feels like a Monday. It is a Tuesday. I hope your work week is off to a good start and that you had a wonderful holiday weekend away. I know that certainly was the case for me. And now really fired up to lock in here for this week as we get ready for some regional baseball on Friday and a ton to do over the next 2 hours. Got Alondra Villarreal and Cassie Spazzali and all those vowels back there on the ones and twos. And we'll have Sharif Ishak along here in 15 minutes. We will have Glenn West in 30 minutes. And we got tons and tons to do. So let's get things rolling the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, so there's a lot that's gone on since I last left you on Thursday afternoon. LSU played a couple baseball games. There's been a selection of the field of 64. So I can't do everything at once. So we're going to try to keep this compartmentalized as best we can. I'm going to start in this segment talking about LSU's baseball play on the field in Hoover. We will get to this coming weekend, the selection, the draw, all of that over the course of 2 hours. But let's start with what LSU did in Hoover. It started with the game against Texas A&M. And you decide to throw Cade Anderson in that game. You decide to send him out there for 84 pitches. I thought that was completely fine. And if you listened to me last week, I thought, hey, I'm going to throw Anderson and Ianson in the first game and get them their work and then see what the rest of the weekend holds. And that is what Jay Johnson decided to do. Now, he may have done that because he thought it was vital for them to win that game and he wanted his best two pitchers on the mound. It's conceivable. He may have done it for the reasons he said post-game, that he wanted to get both of them work while they're in Hoover. You're only guaranteed one game. He wanted to get them pitching on the same day so that they could have the same amount of rest for next week so that he could use either one of them on Friday if he wanted to. And he wanted to limit pitch count, and that happened. Either one of those are very plausible situations, and I don't really care what the answer is. It worked because you got them both out there. They both pitched well. You won the game. You got a second game. And you were able to use your bullpen in that game. So from a pitching perspective, LSU did its job in that game. Now, offensively, that's another can of worms entirely. Because Texas A&M made an error on the left side of the infield and essentially dropped a run-scoring double in right field. You can score it whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm not offended that it was ruled a hit. But a college outfielder probably should make that play. A&M didn't. LSU scores 2 runs as a result of that ball being dropped, and that's half of LSU's offensive production in the game. You got the Fry home run, but really you didn't do a ton offensively. You got 5 hits, but it was enough to beat Texas A&M, who was crippled. Laviolette's out there trying. He hits a single, great, but like you don't have Sorrell, you don't have Grahovic, obviously. You got Laviolette with one hand, and A&M was out of gas. They were out of pitching as well, and you got the win 4-3. And then you come back and play Ole Miss. And you faced really Ole Miss's bullpen. Now, Ole Miss's bullpen is not immensely short on talent. You watched the game. Like, they've got some guys that can run it up there in the mid to upper 90s, and that's all well and good. But you got 2 hits and didn't score. Offensively, LSU was bad in those 2 games. I pulled some of the numbers. On Saturday, LSU was shut out for the first time all year. The first 7 hitters in the order on Saturday were 0 for 22 with 7 strikeouts. And it's not like you shuffled the deck in a big way. It was Curiel, Jones, Dickinson, Brown, Fry, Milam. Like, that's as good as you got. And those guys were 0 for 22 with 7 strikeouts. If you combine the 2 games, over 2 games, LSU got 6 hits total and only had 6 at-bats with a runner in scoring position in 2 games. It was just a stagnant malaise of ineffectiveness really the whole time. LSU was 1 for 19 in the 2 games with 2 outs in the inning. So you're not getting those big 2-out clutch hits. And they only got the leadoff man on 4 times in 17 innings. So if you're not getting guys on early in the inning and you're not driving guys in late in the inning, well, there's not a lot of time for you to score runs, and they didn't. So I don't understand why this offense is so frustratingly mediocre on the road and good at home. I can't come up with a good explanation for that. I can't just explain it away because they got 3 games against Missouri at home. They faced some good arms from Mississippi State at home, and they didn't crush Pico Khan, but they did score a lot of runs over the course of those games. I wrote this in my Around the Horn column on LouisianaSports.net, but LSU scored 27 runs against Mississippi State at the box. They scored 21 runs on Tennessee at the box, 22 on Arkansas, 19 on Bama. These are tournament teams, host teams in 2 cases. On the road, against Auburn, 8. Against Texas A&M, 7. Until you scored 20 on South Carolina, who stinks, I could take your 9 SEC series by run production. And the top 5 are the home series, and then the bottom 4 are road series. It was perfectly split. Now, South Carolina, you did score more on the road there than you did against Alabama by 1 run. So if we were ranking them 1 to 10, it would be 4 home, 1 road, 1 home, 4 road. That makes sense. All of your good production is at home. I don't have a great reason for that. Here's the way I wrote it on the website. If you go to Austin, Texas, and you have a tough weekend at Dish Fault putting up a ton of runs, well, I get that. Texas has a lot of good pitchers. It's a big ballpark. Okay, that weekend is pretty easy to explain away. Sometimes you go to Auburn and you just don't really play great for 3 days. And that's no big deal. It's 3 games out of 30. Sometimes you go to Norman, Oklahoma, and it's freezing freaking cold, and Kyson Witherspoon pitches the first game. In that vacuum, just those 3 games, okay, I can see that being a tough place to score some runs. You go to the SEC tournament, and your team doesn't really show up. We've seen this forever and ever, amen. Not at LSU, but a lot. South Carolina under Ray Tanner never won any games in Hoover, and they were in Omaha in the finals 3 years in a row. Didn't do anything in the SEC tournament. I can look at all of these games in a vacuum and go, okay. But when they all add up, it's what am I missing here? Why can you throw 17 on the board in a game against Tennessee at home? Why can you light up Arkansas's bullpen in the first game and anybody they trotted out there in the second game at home? That's a really talented group of pitchers. And LSU is good at home, and they're not on the road. I can't figure that one out. I can figure out we don't hit lefties, we do hit righties. That makes sense. It's a completely different thing. I can get we don't handle velocity. If you get a guy up there that throws 98, LSU's overmatched. Well, that's a very diagnosable problem. I cannot come up with a good reason why LSU leaves the box and can't hit. I don't have it. The good news is that you don't have to leave the box for the next 2 weeks because you got a top 8. And you're not facing any SEC arms this weekend and probably not next weekend. So it's an odd thing that I can't really come up with. LSU's 30-5 at home and scores 8 runs a game in SEC play at home. In SEC road games, they averaged 4.5. It's almost half. I don't have a good explanation for it. But I'll tell you this. In the malaise and bore of that game that LSU put forth offensively against Ole Miss on Saturday, the other side of the equation, very exciting. Very exciting. Jaden Newt gets the start. 4 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Thought he did an awesome job. throwing pickoff throws away, whatever. But I love the fact that he got the start and was missing bats for a potent team. And then you went to Chase Shores. 48 pitches, gets through 2 2/3, doesn't allow a hit. Remember, hits have been the big thing for Chase Shores. His batting average against in SEC play late into the SEC season was over 310. Guys squaring him up. They're not squaring him up right now. I don't love the 3 walks, but I'm not asking for everything after a rough start for Chase Shores. I'm trying to find out what he can do, and he's throwing it over the plate now, and there's still a ton of life on that fastball. Apparently the stadium gun had him at 101, and that's great stuff to see. And then maybe more importantly, Jacob Myers comes in, and 4 strikeouts in 2 1/3, did not walk anybody, retired every hitter he faced. That is a difference maker. And I still, when he goes onto the mound, in the back of my brain, the sirens are going to be going off saying, this guy led the nation in walks 2 years in a row. Like, I can't get that out of my brain. It's an important stat. When a guy, it's not like, oh, he had a rough game where he walked 8 guys. Well, no, this is 2 years in a row. He walks a lot of guys. But if he throws it over the plate, which he's doing right now and has in multiple outings in a row, he's one of the toughest guys in LSU staff to hit. It's an upper 90s fastball from a ridiculously high arm slot, and the slider is really good. And he was awesome. So those 3 guys are kind of the guys stepping forward in the role we've been asking for since March. Like, there was a point where you thought, okay, it's going to be Rizzy that's doing that. Okay, William Schmidt is growing up. He's going to handle that. At one point, Connor Benj was getting you out of a bunch of jams, and now he doesn't pitch. But we've gotten to the point where you're always pointing towards, and you know what Callan and Evans are going to have to be, but there's got to be gap fillers between Ianson and Anderson and those guys. These are them. I don't know if it's Friday to start the game. I don't know if it's Friday to finish the game. I don't know if it's Sunday to start the game. I don't know if it's Monday to try to finish a regional. I don't know where the innings are going to come from. But it's reasonable to suggest Jaden Newt, Chase Shores, Jacob Myers are going to be in the middle of this thing. They're on a tier above Connor Ware and William Schmidt and Maverick Rizzi and DJ Primo and all those guys. And they showed it in the last showcase on a big stage in front of a nice crowd against a good team that could have been a top 8 national seed. And they looked great. And they never had like a bump. It wasn't like, oh, well, he ran out of gas and then he got hit. No, like, it was just good all the way. Those guys combined to hold Ole Miss to 2 runs on 3 hits. That's really, really good. So I'm frustrated, bewildered, disappointed is fine to say with what the offense was over the weekend. I understand there's a track record long enough now to have legitimate concerns about what this team can do offensively. But it's been really good at home, and they're going to play at home for 2 weeks if they can get through this one. And the pitching is starting to round into shape like it's really done every year Jay Johnson's been here. They've pitched their best late in the season all 3 years that Jay's been the coach. And that's Wes Johnson, and that's Jason Kelly, and now it's Yeski. So this is glass half full, glass half empty, wherever you want to stand on it. But there was some good, there was some bad, and I thought that the decision that Jay Johnson made to throw Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson in the first game of that regional was a good one that worked out. Now you come on back, LSU should be very rested, and we'll talk about what their draw is and what this weekend should look like as we move forward here on today's show. Our opening drive brought to you by Genesis of Baton Rouge. When we come back, Sharif Ishak. We'll talk a little Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Could you whisper in my ear the things you want to feel? I'll give you anything.
Chat with Glenn West, go 24/7, talking some LSU baseball in about 15 minutes. Let's go down to New Orleans. Our guy Sharif Ishak, WDSU in New Orleans. Talk a little bit of Saints. I've seen some OTAs down there in the 504. Sharif, how are you?
Got to give you a lot of credit, Hunt. Last week when I had you on for a Zoom, I said, give me some other pitchers other than Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson, and the two guys you said.
Jaden Newton, Chase Shores, I think.
Yep, and you know what? They performed well. I know it's a small sample size, but it seems like they've been doing well, just like you said the last few weeks, and I'm feeling good about 8.
I'd like to get there. They got to win a regional, got to win a super, and then go make some noise up in Nebraska. But as I've said since they walked off the field against Arkansas, like, they're good enough. They just have to play well enough. I would have like super serious concerns if I thought there was another team that was just like some sort of juggernaut, but I don't. I mean, Vanderbilt's had big time offensive issues. Texas is without a couple big pitchers and has not played great the last couple of weeks. Like, they're good enough. It's just a matter of, can they play really well down the stretch? And I guess we'll find out on Friday. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you. Let's talk Saints. Go ahead.
We can do it. Let's talk some Saints. I want to talk a little bit about the weapons on this offense, because they have made a concerted effort to invest very heavily on the offensive line, which I think is great. But they have not invested very heavily at wide receiver. You've got Olave, who's a first-round pick, Shaheed, who you kind of found as a diamond in the rough. You go pick up Brandon Cooks off the scrap heap, and a tight end, I think you're okay. Where are you on the weapons that Tyler Shoug's going to have to use with this offense?
I think whoever the quarterback is, they need to get at least one more possession receiver. I mean, look, Brandon and Olave are the same receivers. They're the same size, essentially. They present speed down the field. And so does Rashid Shaheed. You got three guys who can burn down the field, but you desperately need a possession receiver. And that possession receiver, to me, isn't on this football team. I mean, unless they're counting Juwan Johnson to be their tweener, to be able to do the tight end and play a little bit outside and play some receiver. But they need to find somebody. I mean, it just goes without saying. It's just like, hey, maybe they need to find a veteran quarterback. They need to find a veteran receiver when they get closer to training camp or when they're in training camp, because I just don't know, Hunt, how it's going to work. I mean, your next receiver in that mix would be Bub Means, Cedric Wilson. I just don't think that's really, Dante Pettis. I just don't think that's really, sexy enough for me in terms of possession receivers. You need to have that go-to guy over the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds like a practice squad, which is basically what it is. I mean, Juwan Johnson, I was a little surprised at that contract. What did you think when they re-inked him?
Yeah, I think it was a bit much. And if you really want to make some money, go play for the Saints. Apparently, a lot of guys get a lot of big contracts to make you kind of say, okay. But, good for him. It ain't, it's not his fault. They gave it to him. So I think that, if he can produce like he did a couple years ago, I guess, he'll outkick that salary, and then they'll look like geniuses. So I guess we'll see if he can return to 2 years ago form and shape, and when he had a pretty solid season. And it's fine by me. I mean, I just think that they are what they are, Hunt. I mean, they're 4-6 wins right now. That's the problem. It's just the 4-6 wins. They are what they are.
Well,
if they can go pick up a possession receiver, that's amazing. And I just don't know, I'm trying to spin this the best way possible, but I think I'm trying to be a realist. I'm not going to be able to talk you into 9 wins, 10 wins. I can't do that. 8 wins. Maybe I can talk to you 6 or 7.
Are they going to use Alvin Kamara the same way they did last year, where he's just doing everything? I realize there were injuries involved in that, but I just can't imagine at this stage in his career that that's the best thing.
No, but I do think that they want to try to get some good mileage out of him. I do think they're going to have to rely on what they hope is a healthy Kendre Miller and Devin Neal to be able to give him some, rest and be able to do a little bit more like he can do. I do think that they want to line him up and outside. They do want to line him up in the slot. They do want to make sure to get him out of the backfield and throw him a few passes. But they're going to have to be careful how they use him. They can't really run him into the ground if this is the so-called still another rebuilding season, and they give him one more year in 26, and they really kind of go for it when the cap opens up for them, and they have hopefully another solid draft class. But they need him, but they just need to be careful how they use him. If you understand what I'm saying, they're going to have to really rely on the other 2 guys behind him to make sure that, they can kind of somewhat help him carry the load so he's not getting beat up for 17 games.
Anything stand out on the offensive side from OTAs? I know that this is y'all's first kind of real look at Kellen Moore and certainly of Tyler Shough.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, I told you that they should keep Fuaga at left tackle and move Banks to right tackle. And Dylan Randunce would play left guard. I'm completely wrong in every one of those. Every single one of those I was wrong. It's Banks at left tackle, Fuaga at right, and Trevor Penning was playing left guard. So they're going to give it a shot with Penning at guard. And look, it might work out. I know he was in Philly for 1 year, Kellen Moore, and they moved Mekhi Becton inside, and it worked out perfectly. And maybe that's what they're hoping to get out of Trevor Penning. This is last year with the Saints. They pick up his 5th-year option. So if they make him look successful at guard, they look like, brilliant coaches by doing it. I think, look, why not? You give it a chance. You give it a shot this year. Like I said, this year's a year that you're trying to figure things out, and it might work out really well with the tackles. I mean, I understand why they are doing what they're doing with Banks, keeping him there because he hasn't played right tackle since high school. Fuaga played it throughout his entire career until he played left tackle last year. So I understand why they did that, and I think that was the biggest thing. look, Hunt, the rest of practice, it was essentially a 7-on-7. It was like flag football. They're getting ready for the Olympics pretty much, just watching practice. I mean, both quarterbacks looked good. One was 7 of 8, the other was 8 of 8, both making good passes down the field. But it's a learning session. They're teaching them. You're not getting much in these next few weeks. You're just getting a bunch of teaching and learning in 7-on-7.
How would you compare Rattler and Shook in terms of how they look out there? We know that Rattler's got some athleticism to him, a little whippiness in the arm. What does Shook look like next to him?
Both of them, Shook and Rattler, both got a little bit of athleticism. I think that Rattler is a little bit more athletic. He's not, obviously not as big.
Right.
I mean, Shook is like a 6'5" dude, 220. Rattler is a little bit bigger than me, who can move a little quicker. Both have solid arms. I'd give them that. They both have very solid arms. I mean, Rattler is nice. His deep balls are nice, and Shook has got a cannon on him. So, not much. The only difference I'd say he's a little bit more athletic than Shook. That's because of his frame. He's not that big, so he can move quicker, get out of a little bit of trouble a little quicker. But that's about it. I mean, I want to see this in training camp. I mean, I don't want to see 7-on-7. I want to see full team drills. I mean, 7-on-7 is it's hard to get much other than your arm strength and your precise passes and how accurate you are and how much zip you have on those passes.
The thing that fascinates me is this is theoretically like a real quarterback battle, and I'm curious how you think the two of them will handle it as far as their relationship goes. I'm not asking them to be best buds, but you think there can be some friction?
No, I think they're both mature and they understand it's a profession, man. Like they don't have to worry about like the friction between each other. They're both from the Chandler, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona area. They kind of know of each other, and they've gotten a chance to become better friends in the time they've been on the field together. So no, I don't see any friction. I mean, you're not going to see the same friction we saw last year when they wanted Rattler to play over Derek Carr. You're not going to see any of that. I mean, you got good coaches, you got good players, you got good veterans. You're not going to see much of that this year. I think that ship has sailed where you see friction between quarterbacks in the quarterback room.
That's a good thing. Need to sing Kumbaya and get moving things in the right direction down there in New Orleans. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, covering the Saints. He's with us every single Tuesday. Thanks, man.
Anything and any time for you, Hunt.
Appreciate it. Sharif comes on once a week on this show. I give him 5 minutes a year, which I think is a beneficial trade for me. I appreciate him very much for making himself available each and every week. He's always with us on Tuesdays. Usually in the second hour, they got to get back out there to do some work this afternoon, so we got Sharif a little bit early today. If you're looking for your Saints coverage, you can always find it on LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson has a ton of coverage wall-to-wall on everything, OTAs, everything about he's writing some features on the veterans right now and kind of what their role is in New Orleans. If you're looking for Saints coverage, you can find it there at LouisianaSports.net and certainly wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on Saints. We talk Saints each and every day. Let's step aside, go back to baseball. Glenn West, go 24/7. Was at the box yesterday for the media session. He will be there this weekend for the regional. We'll talk about it all next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, They've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging along here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope everybody's easing back into the work week quite nicely. Fired up for a big weekend of baseball out at the box starting on Friday at 2 o'clock. It'll be LSU and Little Rock. Lynn West will be there. I'll be there a little bit late, but I'll be there nonetheless, and very excited to check it all out this weekend. Glenn joins us on Tuesdays, giving some time now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Of course, he's a senior writer at Go 24/7. Glenn, how are you?
Good, Hunt. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Let's talk about Hoover. Was it more important that Jaden Newt, Chase Shores, and Jacob Myers threw the ball great on Saturday, or was it more important that LSU didn't hit for 2 days?
I will probably say the offense is the thing that stuck out to me a little bit more. I mean, obviously the pitching staff, I think, has been trending in this direction for a little bit now with the way that Shores and Newt in particular have performed in the last several weeks. The offense, though, to me has been just really up and down these last several weeks, closing conference play, and certainly in Hoover. This is just a wildly different team on the road from an offensive hitting perspective, and I can't put my finger on why, but they do hit a lot better when they're in Alex Box, as evidenced by the Arkansas game a couple weeks ago, where they really did a nice job in that kind of final game there to win that series. But I just think that far too often it's guys getting a little bit out of their plan, swinging at as Jay Johnson said this last weekend, just getting a little bit out of their zone, a little bit out of their strike zone, and getting under balls at times too. I mean, there's just a lot of inconsistencies right now within the offense, and the good thing here is that you have 2 weeks at home potentially to figure this out and kind of get into a little bit of a groove if you're lucky enough to make it to Omaha. But I do think that it's a concern for me just long term looking at this offense right now and just how inconsistent they've been at the plate for the better part of a month or two.
Do you think the offense's inconsistencies are going to impact the way that Jay Johnson handles his pitching this coming weekend, specifically on Friday?
I don't think so. I think they were always probably planning on pitching either Cade Anderson or Anthony Ianson. I think that's where I'm leaning in towards just my best guess. I think one of those two gets the start. And just looking at Little Rock's offense and just the limited research I've done to this point on them, I'm still kind of diving into all these teams, but a lot of Little Rock's top hitters seem to be lefties, and I think that kind of points me in a direction of maybe you go Cade Anderson on Friday and try to just get as many innings out of him as you can, and maybe you're in a position where you were 2 years ago, where Paul Skeens is able to go a complete game, 7 innings, and the LSU offense is able to do enough against a 4-seeded pitching staff and are able to run rule them and kind of get out of there early, and then you've got the whole entire pitching staff the rest of the way. I think that makes a lot of sense to me if you're able to go out there and accomplish it, but to your question there, I mean, can the offense do that is going to be a question mark. So I would probably lean Ianson or Anderson probably in this game on Friday, and you just kind of build it up from there.
Little Rock's got the worst RPI in the field. They had lost 13 of 14 before their conference tournament, and then they won 6 games in 5 days or 5 games in 6 days or something like that. But Jaden Newt, Chase Shores, and Jacob Myers were so good on Saturday. Do you think there's any thought given to throwing Jaden Newt out there to start the game against Little Rock and see where that goes?
Yeah, I mean, look, anything's possible. I'm kind of in the camp though that just knowing how they've operated in the past and just what this pitching staff has done, like I would feel just as comfortable throwing Jaden Newt on a Thursday as I would in a closeout game on Saturday or Sunday to get 3 or 4 or 5 innings out of him. So I think that they've really, and just talking with some of the pitchers, especially Anderson and Ianson over the last couple of weeks, they really like the schedule that they're on right now. And so I really want to mess with that bases to start the weekend out.
Do you feel like there's a better chance that LSU goes nuts at home? They're in some dogfights.
I would probably lean more to it, just kind of it being more of an offensive weekend. I think that they're facing some good offenses. Let's get that out of the way. Like I think Dallas Baptist is a pretty good offense. Rhode Island is a pretty good offense. When you look at kind of their numbers in the country, I think there could be some runs to be had this weekend for those couple of teams there. But I think that this offense is. They're not as far away, and look, we've seen them do it this season already. I mean, they have the talent, they have hitters, they have guys who have performed against SEC teams, and so I think that they have the ability to go out there and make this a three up, 3 down kind of regional. But it's just there are some hesitancies there, and I think if you get into an offensive heavy game against either Dallas Baptist or Rhode Island, it could get a little hairy. But I think that this offense has the talent to be able to make good work of this regional and not give themselves too much stress.
Jacob Myers, you trust him to throw strikes?
I'm not sure I'm there 100% yet. I loved what I saw in Hoover. I loved what I've seen in his last couple of outings. The guy just absolutely throws missiles. I mean, you can put his stuff up there with the best of them in terms of just throwing it and velocity, and that could be, I guess maybe intimidating for some of these teams that haven't really faced that kind of pitching this year. So I do think he's going to have a role this weekend. I don't know what that looks like, whether it's closing out a game or getting a critical out or two in a tight situation. Echo what Jay Johnson said. He's made himself a lot of money here over the last couple of weeks, and if he's able to extend that into the postseason, good on him, and good on him for being able to figure out some of the command issues that he's had throughout his career.
Is there a button to be pushed offensively, whether it's moving somebody to Tommy White at the leadoff spot, go to Jared Jones in the leadoff spot? One you'd like to shuffle around?
Yeah, I think they've really tried everything this year. I mean, it seems like they had 20 different lineups in the first 30 games, just trying to figure that kind of stuff out. So I don't know that there's anything that we haven't seen yet in terms of what they could be thinking there, but I like it the way the kind of it has been when they've been at their best this year with Curiel leading off, Jones in that 2 hole, and Dickinson, Fry, Milam, those kind of guys in those top 4 or 5 spots. I mean, those are your best hitters, and if those guys aren't going to hit for you, then you're just not going to go very far. And so I would just lean into what you have been doing, and if they're able to get it together and be a little bit more consistent for you, then you're going to go pretty deep into this tournament, I would guess. But if it's a lot more of the inconsistency that we've seen here over the month, it could get dicey. But I wouldn't be tinkering with the lineup, I think, too much this late into the season.
Anything you drew from the interview session yesterday, whether it was demeanor, an answer that you found interesting, or anything specific, or just kind of business as usual over there?
Yeah, it was pretty business as usual. I'm trying to think now that you asked that. Nothing really stands out to me. I mean, I think probably from talking to the players specifically, they're going to be very happy to be playing at home for the next week or two if they're able to get to a super regional. Like, I think that's a very real thing for this team. Like, they enjoy playing in front of their fans, and every team does. I'm not saying that's not unique to this team, but they just seem to have a better confidence about them when they're playing in front of this crowd and in this stadium. So I would probably say that was one thing that was kind of affirming to us in the press conference yesterday when talking to Ethan Fry and Anthony Ianson. But as far as Jay Johnson goes, I mean, he's very close to the vest this time of year with not allowing too much stuff to get out there about what he's thinking for this weekend or the postseason. They're very business as usual. They treat every game like it's a postseason game. They very much believe in that mentality, and I would expect nothing less this weekend from a mentality and just a press conference aura perspective.
I heard him say that he's not going to announce a starter until Friday. He will have to have a press conference on Thursday after their practice. Yeah. Is someone going to ask him about his starting pitcher on Thursday?
He told us not to ask him that because he's not going to tell us. But I mean, I'm sure someone's going to. I mean, that's kind of what we do. So, or kind of what we have to do. But he's not going to give us anything. He's going to keep that very close to the vest. But I would guess it's going to be Anderson or Ianson. That would be my final prediction. Just knowing what I know about just the way they've operated the last couple of years, and the way that these pitchers have talked about the way that they really like the schedule that they're on right now, I don't see them messing with that personally.
All right, well, I'll be a little bit late on Friday. I've got a show to do, but make sure that there's some Coke Zero remaining when I get there in about the 4th inning.
We'll have some Coke Zero, and you get one of those stipends.
Nice!
You get like a food stipend where you can go down in the next concourse level and get whatever your heart desires.
We like that. Make that happen. We'll see you after the box on Friday, Glenn. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Hunt.
It's Glenn West, Go 24/7, all your team coverage, recruiting coverage. They got you covered over there at Go 24/7. I love that. Just candidness that Jay has with the media. Like I was listening to the press conference yesterday as we were driving home, family style from the. I got all three, the wife and both kids, asleep, so I could listen to like some baseball podcasts and press conferences and stuff, which was phenomenal for me. And I was listening, and he just said, "I'm not going to name a starter, so don't ask me." Somebody is going to ask on Thursday who you're starting, and it's going to get a great answer. I can't wait because that's just the way that the media folks are wired. They're gonna ask the question. They're just not going to get an answer, and we'll see when LSU puts the Twitter graphic up 90 minutes before the game who the starting pitcher is going to be, and I'll be on the air for that, so that'll be perfect because the game's at 2. They'll announce it around 1. That's when I start. So that's I'll have full reaction to that on Friday, but we won't know anything until then. So appreciate Glenn for giving us a little bit of time. I know we have a couple of different things that I wanted to talk about in the final segment here. I wrote a column about this last night on LouisianaSports.net about the SEC switching baseball tournament formats, and I feel pretty strongly about it. I'll tell you how next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. A lot of times we handle a remodel because something just doesn't look great. But there are also times where a remodel becomes necessary because your bathroom appliances don't function properly. If your tub is just too old and it's not functioning anymore and you're going to have to replace it, don't just get the guy from down the street to come over and hand him a couple bucks cash and think he'll probably do all right. Go with the team that's been doing this for 30 years. Go with the team that's licensed, bonded, insured. Go with the team that's got a master plumber on retainer. It's One Bath and Closets, David Duvall. He'll come over and start that process with a free consultation. That part doesn't cost you anything. Talk about what you want done, lay out those plans, and let David and his team get to work. They can handle your tubs, your showers, all your plumbing there. They can also handle things like the vanity and make that look gorgeous. Check out their work at onebathandclosets.com. You can see pictures of it, see the great reviews from their satisfied customers, and get that free consultation online at onebathandclosets.com. Onebathandclosets.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar.
The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up the hour here. SEC baseball tournament is one of my favorite weeks of the year. Not because of the massive stakes that you're playing for, just because I love baseball, and at Tuesday morning at 9:30, if I can turn my computer on and fire up some baseball, like, that's awesome. And if there's baseball on at 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, I love that. So I just love the fact that it's a constant, it's a week of constant baseball. And they've gone through different iterations of this tournament. They had the 8-teamer, and then LSU gets left out in 2011, and then gets left out of the fields. Like, well, we need to go ahead and invite everybody. And then, well, how do we invite everybody? Well, we'll leave 2 teams at home. And then, okay, now we got to do single elimination on Tuesday, then double elimination on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then back to single elimination on Saturday. And that's kind of hokey and wonky and whatever. And then you've got the issues with the weather and the rain and trying to get all the games in. There are certainly challenges in trying to put on this tournament. And so you add Texas and Oklahoma to the mix. And we understand that these coaches at least want a chance to go play for their season. So you've got to let everybody in. Okay, so we're going to do this single elimination. And we now have one in the books. And I will say this. I think this is awesome. I think it worked great. I think that from a couple of different perspectives. One, okay, everybody got a chance to play for their season once they got there. No excuses. Okay, great. And then you've got all these teams who have different goals entering the week. Mississippi State was going to be in. Kentucky's trying to play their way into the tournament, into the NCAA tournament. Okay. You got Bama trying to play for a host. Florida trying to play for a host. You've got Ole Miss making sure they've got a host locked up. Tennessee trying to get a host. You got LSU and Auburn making sure they're going to be a national seed. And so everybody's kind of goals are different. And the teams that were looking to try to improve themselves instead of maintain get a longer runway. You either start on Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you're Ole Miss, you get more opportunities to win games in quad one and move your RPI up. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about going 0-2 or 1-2 and dumping your RPI 9 spots. You're only going to lose one time over the course of a week. And if you're a team that's like LSU, like Texas, like Vanderbilt, and you'd like to get more at-bats and potentially win the tournament, you don't have to worry about playing from Wednesday to Sunday to win the tournament. You just play it like a normal weekend. And now as I look up, South Carolina wasn't able to win a game. Who cares? Missouri didn't win a game. Who cares? They were the two runs to the league this year. Texas A&M was trying to win the whole tournament. And guess what? You look up on Friday night, and they've got one swing potentially against LSU to get to Saturday. And then you're right there. So that's good drama for them. Okay, I like that. You look at a team like Vanderbilt that already had a top 8 locked up when they got there. Well, they didn't have to overextend pitching to go from Wednesday to Sunday. You just go with your guys, play 3 games. Same thing would have gone for Texas, would have gone for LSU, would have gone for Arkansas. And if you're LSU and you want to get your aces a little bit of action, you can put them out there in the first game. Then throw some bullpen guys in the second game. And in the end, Ole Miss got a host. Tennessee got a host. LSU locked in their top 8. So did Auburn. So did Georgia. Kentucky faltered, but didn't fall out of the tournament. Mississippi State was already in. They faltered. It's fine. Really, Florida not getting a host and Bama not getting a host are the only teams that didn't accomplish what they were trying to get done. And nobody was compromised. And the other piece to this puzzle, that's all resume stuff. This is just weather-related. Because everybody's getting eliminated so quickly, you only had 2 games scheduled for Thursday and 2 games scheduled for Friday and 2 games scheduled for Saturday. So you got some rain on Tuesday. Who cares? You just back all the games up one spot, and you don't have to overextend. You don't have to have teams playing twice in one day. You don't have to have weather delays pushing things back to 3 in the morning. It functioned because, and we had great weather, but it functioned because you had enough room to back games up as opposed to playing 4 games Tuesday and 4 games Wednesday and 4 games Thursday and 3 games Friday. That's what you used to do. You had a double elimination. And you got teams, go playing 5 and 6 games. That's just a lot to ask in what is basically a cash grab. This is not a super meaningful tournament. And some folks are trying to improve their resume, but it just all worked from that perspective. And the last question I had about the tournament was, okay, is anybody going to go? Because you're only guaranteed 3 hours of baseball in a single elimination tournament. Are you going to pack up and take your family to Hoover to watch it? And I got a text from somebody that was there that said this place is bonkers. I got that on Friday. So people did go, and the crowds were good. And you need, just like you do in Omaha to an extent, you need the locals to show up and support the event. And Omaha does that big time, and Hoover does too. And then you've got the teams that are going to send folks. LSU is going to send some people. Of course, you're going to have the Auburn and Alabama fans there. Mississippi State generally will send some folks. Ole Miss travels okay. You're not going to get much from Florida. You're generally not going to get a lot from Georgia. Vanderbilt doesn't have a big enough fan base to make a dent, but you got enough people there. So for me, you didn't overtax arms. Everyone was able to kind of take what they needed for their resume. You got great crowds. You had room for the weather. Like, it all just worked. There's no perfect way to do this. But to me, this invite everybody and go single elimination looks really good. You can't complain. You didn't have a chance. You got a chance to go play. And for those that don't need it, like Vanderbilt this week, like Texas this week, like Arkansas this week, well, sometimes it goes really well like it did Vanderbilt. Sometimes not so much like it did for Arkansas and LSU. But it's all fine and dandy because they're top 8s now. I thought it was great over in Hoover this week. We'll pause for Sports Center. Come back with Hour 2.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of BatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. I challenge you to just look around on the road these days because Genesis is not the vehicle you saw a ton of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. But you're starting to see more and more of them. It's because folks are understanding just how quality a product it is, and it's at a reasonable price. And you get a great experience when you go into Genesis of Baton Rouge and begin that purchasing process. You're not going to feel pushed or taken advantage of or oversold. You're going to feel like a guest. And if you'd like to do your shopping online and have them come to you for a test drive, they will do it. Sedan, SUV, entry level, highest level, they'll drive them all to you. That's the experience of being a Genesis driver at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're on Airline at Pico. It's across from Women's Hospital. I challenge you to just stop by. Go by and see them. See what you think. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, They've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 2 nights after pulling off their third comeback win from a 20-point deficit this NBA postseason, the Knicks visit the Pacers in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Winning on the road has been a common occurrence for New York in these playoffs, and that trend continues in Indianapolis tonight, believes NBA free agent Marcus Morris.
6-1 on the road in the playoffs. They go 7-1 tonight. Jalen Brunson got a little bit of time to kind of breathe. Even though we wanted him on the court, he only played 30 minutes. He usually is 38 to 42 minutes a game in the playoffs. He got a little break. I think he has a really big game.
Game 4, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Knicks are down 2-1. Pacers forward and top defender Aaron Nesmith's sprained right ankle is a game-time decision. He has been Indiana's primary defender on New York's Jalen Brunson. Nuggets guard Russell Westbrook having surgery on 2 fractures in his right hand. Stars standout forward Rope Hintz, lower body injury, game-time decision, Game 4, NHL West Final against the Oilers tonight, 8 Eastern, ESPN. Dallas trails 2-1.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Had Sharif Ishak and Glenn West in the first hour. Just me and you the rest of the way on this show, but I got a lot to chat about here. After a long weekend, I missed Friday's show as well, so you're talking about since Thursday since I've been here, and a lot has gone on. Talked a lot of LSU baseball in that hour. And now I want to talk about moving forward with LSU baseball, specifically the draw that LSU got. And it's a really good one. I don't know how else to say this. That doesn't assure you at all that you're going to make it through the regional. But by most accounts, LSU got the worst 4 seed in the draw. The RPI would suggest that's the case. And one of the very weaker 3rd seeds. DBU has got some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. They've got some pitchers with some stuff. They've got a postseason pedigree. Their coach has been there 13 or 14 years. But, would I rather play DBU or Florida? I'd probably rather play DBU. It's a good draw that starts with Little Rock. And you're looking at a Little Rock team that began a losing streak on April the 19th, and it piled up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of 15 games they had lost going into the conference tournament. In the series before the conference tournament, they went to Southeast Missouri, who, by the way, Southeast Missouri is RPI 187. It's not like they're any great shakes. And Southeast Missouri outscored Little Rock in that series 43-8. 43-8. It was 19-0, 10-4, and 14-4. And then Little Rock goes to the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. They beat Southern Indiana 10-1. They played Southeast Missouri again and beat them 9-7. They played a 10-inning game with Eastern Illinois and beat them 9-8. And then won some pitchers duels late when everybody's supposed to be out of pitching. They won a 4-1 game against Lindenwood and then beat Eastern Illinois, the Fighting Tony Romos, I believe, 2-1. 2-1 in the conference tournament final. So they're red hot, I guess you could say, but they're still probably the worst team in the field. Their ERAs are really bad. They don't have a lot that scares you in the lineup. They do have, wildly, an April 15th win at Ole Miss, 7-3. Now, I think y'all are aware that I listen to a lot of different SEC podcasts when I'm running or cooking or out in the car by myself. Like, I try to stay as informed as I can with the rest of the league so that I can speak reasonably intelligently to you. And I do know that when Little Rock went to Oxford and beat Ole Miss 7-3, that Mike Bianco blew a gasket on his team after that game. Now, y'all have seen Mike Bianco for 2 decades. Pretty calm, pretty measured, generally fairly jovial. Like, yeah, there have been times the last 2 years where they had bad teams where he was a little frustrated. But, like, he doesn't have a fuse like Tony Vitello who's just going to go nuts. He went nuts after Ole Miss lost to this team. So, take that for what you will, but Little Rock is not good. I'll get more deep into them as the week goes on. Little Rock is a bad team. Dallas Baptist is interesting. I'm about to post a story in about an hour and a half at LouisianaSports.net, kind of going further into detail about Dallas Baptist as the 2 seed. They're 40-16 this year. They went 21-6 in the league. They won 8 of their 9 conference series in Conference USA. But this is what Dallas Baptist does every year. They pretty much beat up on Conference USA now that they're in that league, and they do a really good job of scheduling up in the midweek. They played Oklahoma State twice and split them. They played TCU twice and split them. They played Oklahoma and crushed Oklahoma 9-1. In Norman, they played LSU at Globe Life, obviously, and it was a 7-3 game. So they've played a lot of power conference teams. That's right there, 6 games that they've played against the Power 5. And they're very, very seasoned as a baseball team, having been to 11 straight NCAA tournaments. Their statistics, to me, are not something that I'm going to spend a ton of time on. Like, it's all we have, but Conference USA is not good, and DBU beats up on it. Like, Nathan Humphreys is hitting .360 with 17 homers. Grant Jay, who was a freshman All-American, was an All-League player last year, and hit a home run against LSU in the tournament in the Tuesday game. I guess that was a Wednesday game a couple months ago. He hit 19 home runs this year, .322 average, but CUSA is not great, so I'm not going to put a ton of stock into these numbers. DBU has had a difficult time winning the first game of a regional. They're usually a 2 or 3 seed, and they've gotten beat the last 3 years in that first game. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to do with their pitching, but I will tell you this. They've got 3 guys that they trust, and I know about all 3 of them. You're talking about a former LSU Tiger and Micah Bucknam, who was their Friday night guy before he got hurt and has come back, and he threw 3 perfect innings last week, but I don't know that I'm expecting him on Friday or Saturday of this week to go 120 pitches. Like, he's coming off of an injury. But he's got 95-mile-an-hour fastball and, pretty good slider. There's a reason he was an LSU Tiger for 2 years. James Ellwanger is their next guy, and he's got legit stuff. Now, I have not seen a season-long line score like this before. And let me elaborate. Ellwanger's a 6'2" right-handed pitcher. He throws 96-97. He's got a really good slider. And because of that, he's got 90 strikeouts in 59 innings. Like, it's legit stuff. You can pull it up on YouTube. He's got legit stuff. But what I can't quite figure out is the usage of James Ellwanger, because he goes in these, for a starting pitcher, really short stints, and it's not like the pitch count is astronomical. These are in starts for Ellwanger. These are how many innings he throws, and I'll try to kind of roll through this, but you'll get the picture. 3 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings, 2 2/3, 4 2/3, 4 innings, 1 1/3, 3 innings, 4 innings, 4 innings, 4 innings, 5 1/3. Like, these are starts. And his pitch count is always under 90. Now, the last 2 weeks, they've gone 97-93, and he's gone 5 1/3 and 6. But there's so many pitch counts at around 57, 73, 70, and I'm not sure why they've handled him like that. I didn't see any injury history. He hadn't missed a start, but he usually only throws like 4 innings, and he strikes out a lot of guys. I mean, 4 innings, 9 strikeouts. 4 innings, 7 strikeouts. 4 innings, 9 strikeouts. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. 3 innings, 6 strikeouts. 4 2/3, 5 strikeouts. So that's weird. I'll get into that as the week progresses, especially when we find out what Dallas Baptist plans are. But Bucknam and Ellwanger, from a velocity perspective, have mid-90s fastballs. The third starter for Dallas Baptist started the game against LSU. His name's Ryan Borberg. He was their starter at Globe Life. And what it appears they did is they lined Borberg up to start their midweek games when they were playing the big boys. So their first midweek was against UT Rio Grande Valley. It was actually a very good team this year, but he started that game. Then he started against LSU on a Wednesday, started against Oklahoma in the next midweek, Oklahoma State in the next midweek, and TCU in the next midweek. So 4 consecutive weeks, Borberg started LSU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU. They did that on purpose. He's one of their dudes. They knew he was going to be a weekend starter, and by the middle of April, they had transitioned him off the midweek when all those games were gone, and they put him in their weekend rotation. In those games against LSU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and TCU, he was pretty good. Against LSU, 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. He walked Curiel to open the game, and Jones ripped a double in the gap, and that was LSU got a run in the first inning, and that was all they got off of him in 4 innings. Against Oklahoma, he threw 5 shutout with 7 strikeouts. Against Oklahoma State, he got hit 3 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. And then against TCU, not great, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. His stuff is not great. His stuff is pretty average. And I would suggest the likely scenario here is that LSU gets one of these guys, because I think that they're going to probably have to throw Bucknam or Ellwanger against Rhode Island. Rhode Island is a good offensive team relative to their league. They're a bad team relative to the 11 weeks LSU just played, but Dallas Baptist can't just throw their Conference USA bullpen at Rhode Island like they'll get hit in that stadium this time of year. So I think they're going to have to use one of those guys, and then LSU will go up there and see what they can do on Saturday night if you can beat Little Rock and Dallas Baptist emerges. And I think you'll see one of those guys right there, whether it's the veteran Borberg or one of the guys with the stuff, Bucknam or Ellwanger. It's going to be it's an interesting team to look at because of the schedule they've played, but it's the same type of thing we've seen from DBU every single year, where they dominate the conference and they play a lot of games that are high level in the midweek, but they stack their pitching for those games in the midweek. They use Borberg in those games before they get him into the weekend rotation. LSU threw Connor Ware in that game, and he was really good, but he become kind of an afterthought on this pitching staff. And Rhode Island is a team that's very offensive and does not pitch it worth a flip. So if you're LSU, I think you're looking at hopefully Rhode Island can do some work against that DVU pitching. You almost got a gift last year in the regional opener. LSU walked off Wofford, and then a couple hours later, you had a chance for a massive upset of North Carolina, and it just came up an inning short. I was watching that game, and Long Island has got it. Like they hit the home run in the 8th. They just need 3 outs, and they gag it away. But if Rhode Island can beat DVU, I would find it very, very difficult to see Rhode Island coming into the box on a Saturday night with either Anderson or Ryanson on the mound and winning that game. And then once you get to Sunday and Monday, these type of schools are going to run out of pitching. Just, it is what it is. You can build pitching depth at Tennessee or at Florida or at Arkansas or at Texas. It's hard to build pitching depth at Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist. So, as y'all are aware, the cleanest roadmap is to to win your first two and then figure it out on Sunday. I think that's where LSU is in this regional for sure. There's not a first-round ace that you're terrified of in this thing. There's not a Travis Bazana from Oregon State who came in here. It was eventually number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago. So I feel like it's about as good a draw as you could have imagined for LSU. You got to beat somebody when you get to NCAA tournament play. This is about as favorable as it gets. You better hit the ball better than you did in Hoover if you want to advance, though, because that dog will not hunt. So we'll see. We got a lot more baseball to talk about. Greg Sankey said something very interesting today about scheduling in the college football playoff. I'll give my comment on it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
right, Alondra and Cassie, I'll open y'all's mics here. I was getting texts yesterday from Jacob Beck. He was at Wrigley Field.
Okay.
And he said he was going to try the 999 challenge. Are you aware of the 999 challenge?
Yeah.
9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings.
Right.
I'll allow both of you to guess how that went.
Like in a total amount that or
He watched 9 innings. So how many beers do you think he drank? How many hot dogs do you think he had? He tried to do 9.
I don't think he did the full 9. So I'm gonna go with 7 beers.
And how many hot dogs?
5.
Okay, Cassie, do you have a guess?
I was going to say like 5 beers and maybe like 5 or 6 hot dogs.
Beck got 6 beers and 5 hot dogs. How do we feel about that?
Okay, I'm a little disappointed in the lack of beers. Like, I feel like I could probably do the beers part of that challenge. I think I could drink a beer per inning. I don't think I could eat all those hot dogs. So the hot dog isn't disappointing. I'm impressed that it was 5. I'm disappointed in the amount of beers that he drank.
He said 6 beers, 5 dogs. I did my best. And I texted back, weak showing. And he said, Hunt, it was impossible. Can't be impossible.
It's
Somebody's
not
done
impossible,
it.
yeah.
So I'm giving him no credit for that. That's a failing grade for Jacob Beck 999 challenge. We'll discuss that when he returns.
It is a weak showing, and I agree with you.
All right. Let's talk about what Greg Sankey had to say over in Destin last night. First of all, let me put this out there as a caveat. I understand Greg Sankey's job. He's not there to be objective. He's there to speak and stump for his conference. Let's put that right out there up front. I understand the job. I know what lobbying's about. Like, I get it. You've got a group to support. You're in charge of promoting your brand and your deal. Great. But sometimes you say things, and while rooted in truth, you're going to get a little bit of flack for it. And that was the case yesterday. They were talking about playoff seeding and getting teams into the college football playoff. And Sankey said it's clear that not losing becomes in many ways more important than beating the University of Georgia, which 2 of our teams that were left out did. So he's obviously talking about Alabama and Ole Miss, who were left out of the playoff, but beat Georgia. And I am all for giving some credit for quality losses if we want to do that. I like it. We've never done it. We didn't do it in the BCS. We did the opposite. We didn't do it in the 4-team playoff. And I don't think we're going to do it moving forward. If you lose more games, you're usually going to be out. That's the way it was earlier. That's the way it is later. And so it's a benefit to you to schedule poorly and run the table like Indiana did. But what you can't say is that it's clear that not losing becomes more important than beating the University of Georgia, which Ole Miss and Bama did. You also have to continue that train of thought and go, yeah, and Ole Miss also lost to Kentucky, who was 1-7 in the league. And Bama also lost to Vanderbilt. And they also lost to Oklahoma, who had a terrible season and didn't make a bowl game. So you don't just get to, we beat Georgia. Look how good we are. We're in. That's not how it's going to work. There does have to be punishment for losing to terrible teams. I would like to reward big-time wins. I would be fine with kind of dismissing losses to really good teams. I'm not going to kick Georgia for losing in Oxford and Tuscaloosa. Those are hard places to win. They got in. You can't lose to Kentucky. You can't lose to Kentucky. Nobody else lost to Kentucky. Literally. Everybody else in the league beat Kentucky that was on their schedule. So I think there needs to be a little bit more calculated way to say this than the way that Greg Sankey did, because now you're just welcoming ridicule. And immediately a column on CBS Sports pops up that's like, hey, man, this is not a very smart thing to say. And again, like abundantly clear, I know Sankey's not there to be objective. Sankey is there to promote and pump up his schools. That's the job. He's not trying to be exactly right. But I think that we don't need to try to include Ole Miss into the playoff field here when you lost to Kentucky on your home field and then went to a 6-win Florida team and couldn't win in the Swamp. I know Florida was playing better late, but we can't give a lot of credit for that. The teams that play in the SEC have a significantly more difficult schedule than the teams in the ACC or the Big 12, whose champions were given preferential treatment. But when you've got teams that choke the way Alabama and Ole Miss did, and I don't know another way to say it other than choking, when you can't beat Kentucky on your home field with the most talented team that you've fielded since the 50s, relatively speaking. That's Ole Miss. When you're Bama and you've got a bunch of 4- and 5-star athletes and you can't tackle Diego Pavia in Nashville, you're out. Oklahoma quit playing offense last year, couldn't do anything, and Alabama couldn't go there and beat them. So, look, awesome for beating Georgia. I know the schedule's tough, but if you want to talk about a 3-loss team, say Georgia last year would have lost in Tuscaloosa, in Austin, and in Oxford. Now, that would have limited their quality wins, but that's the 3 toughest losses in the country. So we can talk about including them if you want to. We can talk about how they deserve to be in over a 1 or 2 loss Indiana team. But when you start tossing in the losses to the bad teams, because let me tell you, if Indiana would have lost to Purdue, if Indiana would have lost to Rutgers, we wouldn't be dismissing that. And basically, Ole Miss lost to Rutgers. Kentucky was Rutgers. So we got to be honest about things. I don't like the teams in the SEC, but I understand that they've got a very, very difficult gauntlet to run. And I'll be willing to sit here and try to play objectively and say, okay, let's look at these resumes and let's see who really deserves to be in. And y'all know me ranting and raving about Boise State being in the damn tournament, ranting and raving about having to watch Indiana play football and giving Arizona State a bye. Y'all heard me rant and rave about all that. Like, you know where I stand on that. But I can't come to bat for Ole Miss. Not when Berrien Brown's running all over the field on you. I can't go to bat for Alabama. I don't really want to, but I can't. Greg Sankey has to. That's why they pay him a lot of money. But I thought what he said last night was just a little bit off the mark. I'm reading this column on CBS Sports and said that Vanderbilt and Oklahoma win a combined 3-11 in SEC games not against Alabama. 3-11. So that's tough. I mean, you want to talk about South Carolina? They're tough losses. I can get on board with they're playing well and they went and beat Clemson, and we can talk about that. But you got to take care of your business against the teams that are really bad, and you just didn't see that with those two teams. So just a little look there at some SEC football. Jay Kester is over at the SEC spring meetings in Destin. I'm sure he's working exceptionally hard over there, and he'll have some sound for us on our station as we move forward this week. Maybe run Jake down one day, kind of get some thoughts from him over there in Destin while he is there. So there's a little bit of football there on this Tuesday. We'll step aside. 30 minutes left to go here on Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, it is officially hurricane season. We're here. It's the end of May. That means from now through October, storms are a possibility. The time to look at your property policy is not after the storm blows through. It's not, oh, there's a storm in the Gulf. Well, they're going to put a moratorium on new coverage. You're stuck at that point. You need to do it now. And if you don't know how your buildings got valuated, if you don't know what your current insurance penalties are, you don't know if you've got a wind and hail deductible or a named storm deductible, you just took the cheapest one, just get a set of eyes on that. You need to make sure your business interruption limits are properly written. The Highland Insurance Group can do all of that for you. Give them a call. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com. Say, look, I've got this property policy. Just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. They will look at it for free for you. They will take a look for free. And if they feel like they've got a better marketplace for you, they'll make it happen. It's Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online at highlandig.com, highlandig.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
The general consensus, I listened to the D1 baseball guys on Monday afternoon. I listened to the Baseball America guys on Monday afternoon. The general consensus was that the selection committee did a really nice job as far as the seeding goes. And I would tend to agree with that. I have less concern, and this is probably the wrong way to think about it, but I have less concern about the UConn, Xavier, Kentucky thing, which is the last team in. And more concern generally about the hosting. That's probably the wrong way to think about it, because at least the teams that don't host are in the field. The teams that don't get in the field, like, they're literally done. But you played yourself to that point. And so if Kentucky would have been left out, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. UConn and Xavier get left out. I don't really care that much about that. But I was interested in some of the host sites. And the one that I just did not agree with was UCLA for me. They get the 15 seed. And to me, when I look at that resume and I look at a team in UCLA that was 3-7 against Q1, that is damning to me. And like Southern Miss didn't play a lot of Q1s, but they were 7-5 when they did. So I appreciate that. Even DBU was 7-4 in their Q1s, and they're coming to Baton Rouge. Florida got a bajillion chances went 11-17. So you can look at that either way. The team I might have looked at, though, over UCLA is Alabama. Because Alabama went 15-12 in Q1. Alabama had a better RPI than UCLA. They had 12 more Q1 wins than UCLA. And I get the people that are going, well, they just need to put hosts out west. Do they? We've got to give UCLA a host in that little stadium that no one can find. I still remember Jacques Doucet when LSU was sent out there in 2010. His entire regional preview was like based around this farmer's market that was right beyond right field at the ballpark that nobody even knew at the farmer's market UCLA had a baseball field 20 feet away. There was no press box. They had porta potties set up down the, like, we really need to do that? I know they made a run in the Big Ten tournament. I know they won a national championship in 2013, but I know they went 22-8 in the Big Ten. But 3-7 against Q1, I would not have given UCLA a top 8 national seed. I don't know that Florida deserves one. I don't know that Dallas Baptist definitely deserves one. I don't think TCU deserves one, but I could get on board with Bama. I just thought it was iffy, to say the least. If you look at LSU's resume, we talked about this last week. I was still yesterday getting DMs antagonizing me about my thoughts on LSU as a top 8 national seed. LSU finished with an RPI of 10, which was just outside of where you'd like it to be, but okay. They were 13-11 in Q1, and then 8-1 in Q2. So that's 21 wins and 12 losses in Q1 and Q2. The strength of schedule was not great. Non-conference strength of schedule was a disaster, 221. And you've got to be careful about that. Like Texas's was bad too. It was 204, but Texas won 22 league games. So at that point, it doesn't matter. But that non-conference strength of schedule for LSU it's got to be something that you take a little bit more seriously. The SEC is going to carry the weight. And because LSU won 19 league games and then won a 20th in Hoover, your RPI sits there at 10. But you're, in my opinion, playing with a little bit of fire there if you're giving the committee some ammunition. But there just weren't enough teams, to me, that merited jumping LSU. So that's what my point was 2 weeks ago and last week after the South Carolina series. It's like, LSU's resume is good. It's not great, but it's always a comparative thing. And as I look at some of these teams, like I just can't get to giving them seeds over LSU. And Oregon State did get the last one, and I did not think they should have. I thought Oregon State, with that four losses to Oregon, and then, you know, their quad one was 8, and then until Hawaii jumped into the top 60, and now it's 11. But I thought it was light, and they got in barely as the 8 seed, and they edged out Florida State, Ole Miss, and Clemson to get there. And I look at Ole Miss, and I see a 12 RPI, and I see 21 conference wins if you include the Governor's Cup, which is their Tuesday midweek game against Mississippi State, which does count on the committee sheet, and then the 3 games they won in Hoover, and they had 19 quad 1 wins, which led college baseball. Like, to me, that's better than Oregon State. But if, again, there may be some of you that are saying, well, they're favoring the West Coast. And the West Coast does have its travel disadvantages. Like, everything's so spread out there. But I don't really want to consider that. I just want to look at the numbers, what the numbers tell me. And you can't give everything to the SEC. And that would have been 7 of the top 8, so I get it. I guess that's the cap, 6. But this is another tweet that I sent out 2 weeks ago when I started to crunch the numbers and look at if relative chalk held, which it did, that they were going to have to give the SEC 6. And they did. And we've now gotten to that point. We've gotten to the point where the softball selection committee will put everybody in, where the men's basketball selection committee put 14 of the 16 in, where the baseball committee put 6 national seeds, 8 host sites, 13 teams in, including Kentucky. You don't have to play that game anymore of, well, are there too many SEC teams? We all know where the power lays in college athletics. We all know this. And I think this, because we've already seen it in basketball, we've already seen it in softball, we've already seen it in baseball, and I think you're going to see in football with this subjective committee that's going to put together the postseason field. It's not the BCS computers anymore. They just spit out numbers. Like, it is a subjective group that makes decisions. And nobody is going to be taken seriously if they stand up in one of those committee rooms and go, I think we're giving the SEC too much here. Because watch this. We're going to go through 2 weeks of baseball here, and 5 or 6 SEC teams are going to get to Omaha. I'm just telling you. Now, Tennessee and Arkansas butt heads, so only one of them can show up. But I've got the bracket here in front of me. And LSU is in a pod that does include Kentucky. I mentioned Tennessee and Arkansas. You've got Auburn and Florida in a pod. Oklahoma is clean. They could get out without facing an SEC team. Mississippi State is clean. They could get out without facing an SEC team. And then Vanderbilt and Alabama are in the same pod. So your possibility is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 are available. And that's obviously, they split them all. So that everyone is now on the same page. It's not impossible to give 6 national seeds. It's not impossible to give half the host sites. It's not impossible to put all but 2 teams in the basketball field. Like, we've gotten to the point where we're not putting quotas on things. I thought LSU got jobbed in 2011. I will never forget it, because they just came up there and basically said, we just thought LSU, we thought that they got some wins against the worst teams in the league. So we basically, let's give somebody else a shot. St. John's, you go get them. I don't think we're going to do that anymore. And that's why Kentucky's in the field this time. Because Kentucky was in Omaha last year. And Kentucky has some good series wins. And Kentucky is probably better than Xavier and UConn, who have, look, Xavier won some games in the Vanderbilt Regional last 2 years ago with Justin Lohr on the mound. And UConn's been a regional team, but Kentucky's better. And so I think that's one of the things I took away as I was kind of crunching numbers and matchups and all that kind of stuff. I'm going, okay, but also look at the sheer volume from the SEC. That's the way it should be, because they're the best teams. And we see that every single year in June when we get to Omaha. Hopefully LSU's one of those. Chugging right along here. Let's come back and close it out. It's a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot's online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Safety, big deal with the folks at Genesis. Every single vehicle in that line, whether it's the entry level, highest end, sedan, SUV, all of them, IHA top safety picks. Some top safety picks plus. Every single Genesis model comes with a baseline of outstanding safety features. Now, there are some that enhance them, but every single one comes with a baseline. They're not going to cut corners. It's important to them. When you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, you can feel the comfort. You can see the style. Brand ambassadors can show you how to use all the incredible features. What you don't know when you sit behind the wheel is, like, how safe is this car? Well, I can promise you, if you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, it's one of the safest on the road. Get by and see them. GenesisofBatonRouge.com or Airline at Pico across from Women's Hospital. The entire inventory is there. You can start your shopping process online, and they'll come to you for a test drive, whether it's at the office or at home. Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go check them out online. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all.
Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping things up here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Been a good one. Good to get back in the saddle here. There's just so much to get to when you miss that much time over such a huge weekend of activity. Saints obviously in OTAs. You had the SEC tournament, selection show. Now you've got the regional to get to, and so not even enough time to get to football, all the things that are going on. So we'll do some more of that tomorrow. We'll have Koki Riley, the advocate, on tomorrow as well. Getting ready for LSU and the regional coming up on Friday. It'll be a What If Wednesday tomorrow. And I think tomorrow my plan is probably to talk about how I would handle the pitching this weekend. I've got some thoughts that they flash the names up on the screen, and like, I don't know anything about Little Rock. Not one thing about Little Rock. They throw a name up on the screen going, oh, Rhode Island. Lamar Odom went there. That's about all I can help you with. Like, I don't know anything about Rhode Island. And then DBU, you know what the program's been like. I know who the coach is, and certainly LSU played them on a Wednesday earlier, so you have a little familiarity there. But it's like that happens, and I'm in the exact same boat that you all are. Like, well, I don't know anything about them. So I've spent a lot of time yesterday, all my time this morning, and then we'll do some more tonight, diving into these teams, kind of looking at how I think LSU should handle things and get a sense for what these teams are. I feel like I talked about it briefly in the first segment, a second segment that I did today. But I'm formulating a plan of how I think I would like things to go, and then what I think Jay Johnson will do. The Skeens thing's going to get brought up a lot, and I get that. But I think that this is a different situation. You had one guy that was head and shoulders above everyone at that point. You don't have that this time around. So I think that it could be handled a little bit differently, but I'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. Looking forward to doing that. LSU this week, they came back from Hoover on Sunday, Right, yeah, they came back on Sunday. Were able to put their feet up a little bit. Got some light work in on Monday. Good practice on Tuesday. They'll get a good practice again on Wednesday. Thursday, you do the mandated NCAA practice schedule where everybody gets like 80 or 90 minutes back to back to back to back on the field, and then you move out of there. And LSU had the opportunity to pick whether they wanted to play at 2 or, well, play the early game or the late game. They don't have the time set. TV dictates that. But in the bid that you put in for your regional, you select whether you want to play in the afternoon or in the evening. And for a long time, most home teams played the night game so their fans could come on a Friday. LSU just played the early game because the fans were going to come no matter what. And Skip Bertman had a long talk with Jay Johnson and talked about when he thought you should play that game. And Skip's reasoning was you play the early game for 2 reasons. One, if there's a delay, you're first to get your game in. What you don't want is a rain all Friday afternoon while you're the night game. So the afternoon game gets bumped tonight, and you're either playing at all hours of the evening or you have to come back and play 2 games on Saturday. You want to get priority to get your game finished first, and you can rest. That's the other piece to this. You play, you get off your feet. Maybe the other teams play until 11 o'clock at night, and then somebody's got to come back and play immediately in the afternoon on Saturday. Now, Jay Johnson said when he was in Tucson in Arizona, they played the night game because it's so hot. He just did not want his guys out there in the heat. Rain wasn't a factor. Wasn't going to rain. He just wanted the other teams to melt at 1 o'clock, and he'd go out there at 6 o'clock and play. So this is the right thing to do. I promise the guy that has the 1 to 3 radio show in Baton Rouge doesn't want them to play at 2 o'clock on Friday professionally, but I don't really care about that. I just want them to win the game. So I'll talk about football for the last hour of my show on Friday. We'll clip it and put it on YouTube, and you can check it then. Matt's going to be at Walk-Ons doing his show from 3 to 6, and hopefully things wrap up pretty quickly and folks can get over and see him then. But it makes a lot of sense to play that early game for all those reasons, and so we'll see what LSU decides to do. We'll get the starting pitcher announced when we're on the show, starting things up at 1 o'clock on Friday. So we'll chat with Joe Healy on Thursday about some of this stuff. Might see if we can run down Aaron Fitt tomorrow for his thoughts on it. We'll talk to Koki as well. But I'm learning a bunch about these LSU regional teams, and I'm going to write a story on all of them up at LouisianaSports.net. I kind of got the first one out of the way as far as a template goes with my LSU story that's up there right now. So if you want a little an idea of what's coming on the other 3 teams, my LSU piece is up there right now. I'm calling it the bracket breakdown. And so I've got a Dallas Baptist piece that's about 80% finished, but I want to get back in there and see a few more things, especially offensively about them, and then I'll get those posted, and that'll go up this afternoon. Then tomorrow I'll have a piece on the other 2 teams, which are Rhode Island and Little Rock. So we'll do that on the site tomorrow as well. So it's been a fun show. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We open things up talking about how LSU played against Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Not the resume, not the regional to come, just how did LSU play in the SEC tournament. Talked about that at 1 o'clock. Sharif Ishak was with us talking Saints at 1:15. Specifically, what does this Saints offense look like? What do they need to do to get it where it needs to be? Do they have enough playmakers? Is Shook in a position to succeed? We talked about that at 1:15. You can find that wherever you find your sound. Hunt on Saints. Glenn West talked some baseball with us at 1:30, and I gave my really glowing remarks on the new SEC tournament and how the single elimination format worked out. I loved that. That was at 1:45. LSU got a top 8. What did the metrics say? What did the draw look like? At 2 o'clock, I kind of looked at big picture at what LSU did as far as the tournament field is concerned. Greg Sankey is talking about teams that beat Georgia need to be in the playoff. Doesn't matter who they lose to. I didn't love that. Briefly spoke about that at 2:15. Then at 2:30, I talked a little bit of LSU baseball as well. Garrett Nussmeier's little brother, Colton, is a top 3 quarterback in the country. On3 just released that. He's just behind 2 guys in that class of 2027. They also chatted with him about his recruitment, and he said that he's really taking it slow, not in any hurry whatsoever. And as a sophomore, doesn't need to be in a big hurry, but I think LSU will be in the mix for that one. I may get to a little bit of that on tomorrow's show. for a little bit of football there for you. But either way, if you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, review. You can find it. And then we appreciate you helping us get our content in front of as many folks as we possibly can. And then if you're looking for LSU, Hunt on LSU. If you're looking for Saints, it's Hunt on Saints. Those are all football, all the time, all year round, every day. So if you're not fired up for baseball right now, which has got to be just a few of you, you can find football there all year round. If you are fired up for baseball, you're in the right spot. We're going to talk about it all week moving forward. Very much looking forward. It still feels like Monday to me. I can't shake that mentally, and I'm sure we'll get there pretty quickly here as we get into Wednesday shows and get to a regional before you know it. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place for a Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.